All right, this is my mom, Abby,
Hello.
and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened last summer when she was diagnosed with stage 1 malignant melanoma. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about what happened with my Uncle Kevin, who is on my dad's side. He's my dad's brother, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 malignant melanoma and ended up passing away in December of 2007. So first, I'll let you talk a little bit about what happened last summer.
Okay, last summer, toward the end of July, we were in Virginia. We were in the pool, and we were both on floats and had our arms stretched out. And Savannah was to my right, and she looks over to my left and says, "Mom, what's that on your arm? I don't like how it looks, and you need to get it checked out." So I looked at it, and I didn't like how it looked either. So it was about the circumference of a pencil eraser, light brown with black in the middle of it. It just didn't look good. And I said, "Okay, I'll get it checked out." And she said, "You promise?" I said, "Yes, I will." So when we got back in town, I called the dermatologist to let them know what was going on. I felt like I had a suspicious area I needed to have looked at. And they worked me in, and when I got in there, before she even did a full body scan with the
Melifine.
don't know the name of it, but she saw the place on my arm, and she says, "I'm going to go ahead and tell you before I even look at anything, that's coming off today." I said, "Okay." So she did a full body scan, and once she did that, she scraped it and sent it off for biopsy, and that was on a Monday, and she said it would take 5 to 7 days, and she called me back that following Monday around 8:15, and said, "Well, I have good news and I have bad news. Which would you like first?" I said, "Give me the bad news first." And I'm always about ending positive. That's very important to me. And she said, "Well, the bad news is it is malignant melanoma. It is stage 1. But the good news is it is isolated into the superficial layers of the skin." So I was very, very happy to hear that. And she said, "What are you doing today?" And I said, "I'm doing whatever you need me to do." And she says, "Can you come in at 11:30? She says, "Because we got to get that off." I said, "Absolutely." So I did. And I went in, and they walked me through what they were going to have to do about the excision they were going to have to make, and they were going to have to go deep. And the margins were going to have to, I guess the margin of the excision was going to have to be wide. And the procedure took about 30 minutes, and she called me back about 3 or 4 days later, and thankfully all margins were clear. Do you want me to show?
Yeah, you want to.
Yeah. All right.
So this is it was about in the center right here, and so you can see about how wide they
Four
they had to
inches.
cut. Yep.
Yeah.
And she had a place removed in February on her back, which I don't know if you'll be able to see that right
Yep,
here.
right there.
Yep. She had to get that place removed on her back, and now they're looking at a place a little. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
tiny.
scanning her all the
If
time.
I could go in, but you're not going to be able to really see it.
No, it's just a little tiny red place on her nose that she's
Like a speck.
that she's looking at now. And so now, how often do you have to go get checked?
I have to go every 6 months to be checked now.
So what did she say was the big contributing factor?
UV exposure.
So growing up, you worked outside a lot.
I did. I worked on a farm, and I also laid out in the sun. So pretty much any free time that I had, I was laying out in the sun.
And you also laid in the tanning bed seasonally.
Seasonally, I would lay in the tanning bed about every spring just to jumpstart my tan for the summer. And I don't do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happened last summer with my mom. So to talk about my Uncle Kevin, this is my dad's brother, and just a quick synopsis of my dad's side of the family. There is a lot of redheads and a lot of moles. So, so I'll let my mom share a little bit about Uncle Kevin. This was a very, very traumatic and hard death for our family.
Yeah.
So my dad is one of 6 brothers,
Yes.
and this was the second brother that had passed away. So.
Correct. Kevin was 44 when he passed away on December 6, 2007. And to go back into his history, he was a medic in the U.S. Army and served in the Gulf War. And in his platoon, when they came back, about a year after they got back, Kevin found a suspicious area on the left deltoid. And He went to the VA hospital, and I guess they biopsied it and whatnot. They took everything out, and they decided to also take out his lymph nodes from his armpit area for precautionary measure. I don't know what his prognosis was after that, like if they wanted him to come back every 6 months or come back every year. I don't know, and I don't know if he did that, but that's the way that went. And for many years, from 92 on, Kevin, along with his platoon members, have had numerous places removed, like cysts and this and that. So he didn't think much of it in July when a suspicious area was found by my husband. We were at the family reunion in July 21st, 2007. And Kevin was a very small build, and I liken him to like a Bruce Lee kind of build. Very small, but extremely muscular. Very, very healthy, great, was in shape. And my husband, after we got back from the picnic area that day and we were back at the house relaxing out on the back porch, my husband noticed what looks to be like a light blue bean type of something under his skin. And he asked Kevin, he said, Kevin, what do you got going on there? And Kevin just looks at it, blows it off like he did everything else. He figured, well, it's probably another place I have to have removed. And that's actually what he said, because I was standing there. A week and a day later, he ended up in the ER in excruciating pain. And after testing, he was diagnosed with stage 4 malignant melanoma with numerous cysts, or not cysts, but tumors.
Yeah, that had metastasized. So what had happened was when he had that place on his left deltoid removed in 1992 from the Gulf storm, they don't think that they removed it all during the excision. So from all those years from 92 to 2007, it had been spreading. Those cells had just been replicating and had been spreading through his body all those years. And so by the time they had found it, July 29th, 2007, it was already so aggressive that there wasn't anything they can do. And being in the Gulf storm, I mean, he was like right there on the equator, so he was predisposed, to some harsh temperatures, harsh UV radiation, to all the chemicals, being in the Army.
In the warfare,
So, so his platoon, they were surrounded by so many risk factors for developing malignant melanoma. So it's just very important going forward, us learning about skin cancer is very important for us to do self-examinations, for us to go to the doctor annually, and to just make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, that it's awesome to go to the pool, and it's awesome for us to go and take care of ourselves and to relax, but we need to make sure we're being sun smart and we're taking care of ourselves. So is there anything else you want to share?
No, except that I wish that I hadn't waited till something was wrong to go to the dermatologist. I think that preventive care, I have a greater respect now for preventive care. Instead of waiting until something's wrong. Just go get checked out. It's so worth it. Your life is worth it. And I'm very thankful for the report that I got, and that it was no more worse than what it was. So.
Me too.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.